All right, number 5 says suppose all operations result in whole numbers, and we want to explain why this expression is true. So generally this is not true. It could be depending on what numbers you get, but we're assuming that it ends in whole numbers, and we're just going to explain why it is true based on the properties. So if A divided by C and B divided by C result in whole numbers, that means, so we got some choices here. Looks like we're focusing on the first part, A divided by C. X equals A divided by C. That would be a whole number. So if that is true, then the second part is true, and that doesn't necessarily follow. This second part, A divided by C is equal to X, then A equals C times X. That would be true. So think about if you did the inverse and multiply it by C on both sides, this is what you would get. So these two statements would be equal. So that means for some whole number X, we would get this, and then we have drop down. So now we're focused on the B divided by C part. Y, a new whole number divided, is equal to B divided by C, and B is equal to C times Y. So again, if you multiply it with the inverse, you would get a CY equals B. So this one does follow for some number Y. Now it says by substitution and the distributive property of multiplication, this gives A plus B equals. Okay, so let's actually see that. We have A is equal to CX, so we're going to be using this by substitution. We have B is equal to CY. That's substitution. Then we're going to do distributive property. So we have A plus B is equal to CX plus CY, because A is equal to CX and B is equal to CY. And then distributive property, if we kind of work backwards, actually factoring it out to C, we have X plus Y. Okay, so we get C times the quantity X plus Y. So we're going to put that in the next box. There's no drop down here, so we actually got to type that in, C, and then X plus Y. Okay, and then it says using the definition of division, X plus Y. Okay, so we already know what X plus Y is. X, that's A divided by C, and Y is B divided by C. So if we're looking at X plus Y, that is A divided by C plus B divided by C. We can factor out this division by C, so that is A plus B divided by C. Okay, if this part is true already. Okay, so for X plus Y, we get what we originally started with. So it's kind of like a circular argument. If these are whole numbers, then we can write it as multiplication, use substitution. We get this, and this is equal to what we started with. So this is how we show that this would be true if these result in whole numbers.